Nexstar told ABC to cancel Jimmy Kimmel because they need their merger, their acquisition of Tegna, to go through. They need it to be approved by the FCC, the commissioner of which is an author in Project 2025. Wake up.
Cancel everything. Cancel Hulu, Amazon, Disney Plus, DoorDash. You know what I did just now? I ordered DVDs in a DVD player. Sure did. I just bought 6 or 7 new books. They are taking away your free speech.
What up, my beautiful black people? Welcome to Black People Politics Network. I'm Mr. Red. Presidents are supposed to serve the will of the people. They're supposed to defend the Constitution. What you're seeing now, that ain't leadership. This is a man who is obviously trying to take control. He's already showed you that he loves other dictators, that he wants to be praised like these other dictators. When someone shows you who they are, it's time to start believing them. From silencing comedians to using a man's death for political gain to literally scrubbing inconvenient data off of government websites, Trump is making it clear. His version of America is one where the truth and dissent are dangerous to him because he knows that this is the way all of this falls apart. This is why your voices are so important. And today we're going to discuss the things that we all are seeing that is showing that Trump has gone too far. Let's strap in. Let's get after it.
Sinclair Broadcasting Group, one of ABC's largest affiliates, has announced that not only will it be airing a special tribute to Charlie Kirk at Jimmy Kimmel's regularly scheduled time this Friday night at 11:35 Eastern Time, but also essentially demanded that Kimmel make a contribution to Turning Point USA and to the Kirk family in order to try to get his show back. Sinclair called on Kimmel to make a personal apology to the Kirk family and a personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. Folks, this is another stunning development as Sinclair Broadcasting, which is ABC's largest affiliate network, is literally holding Kimmel's show, the future of the show, hostage over potentially whether or not he makes a donation to Turning Point USA and the Kirk family.
He's talking about that he considers anyone who doesn't support him or who will not bend to his will an enemy of our country. It's a serious issue. He is saying that he would use the military to go after them. Think about this.
The radicals on the left are the problem, and they're vicious, and they're horrible, and they're politically savvy.
Trump designates the anti-fascist Antifa movement as a terrorist organization. U.S. President Donald Trump on Wednesday said he is designating the left-wing anti-fascist Antifa movement as a terrorist organization. In a move following the assassination of right-wing political activist Charlie Kirk, they just celebrated Jimmy Kimmel getting canned. And he didn't really talk about Charlie Kirk. He talked about the reactions of others.
At some point, you got to open your eyes, look around, and realize you're being aggressively manipulated by this administration to start a war that allows them, rationalizes them, taking rights from everyone. That's what they want. They want a reason to do things like suspend elections and use the military against the American people. And they need something that looks like an actual war to validate and justify that. They need people fighting.
Now let's start with the media. Jimmy Kimmel's show suspended, not because of low ratings and not because he broke some law, but because he made fun of Trump. This is how thin-skinned our president really is that someone makes a joke and he has to shut them down. The FCC is stacked with Trump loyalists, just like the rest of the government is. This stacked FCC started rattling sabers at ABC. And then Trump himself clapped like a dictator, watching his critics be silenced. I mean, I want you to think about that. If you say something that this man doesn't like, he's going to shut you down. And if you still defend that, then you don't truly believe in democracy. You truly don't believe in the Constitution. You truly don't believe in the First Amendment as much as you believe in the Second Amendment. Miss us with that bullshit. Presidents deal with criticism. Dictators, they want to eliminate them. And especially for a thin-skinned man like Trump, Your voices can send this man into a tailspin. And now we have comedians who are supposed to be the beacons of free speech, to say the things that most of us cannot say, and we put them out there. How thin-skinned is this man that a comedian makes a joke that he doesn't like, and now he tries to get rid of him? This shit right here, this is not freedom. This is fear.
Transgender people and immigrants are not at the root of any problem that I face in this country, and I will not be tricked or bamboozled to thinking otherwise.
I don't believe in this so-called freedom of speech nonsense. Now, not when it comes to my employees. You work for me. You keep your mouth shut about people I respect. Charlie Kirk was a great American. And yes, I loved what he stood for. Same with President Trump. Strong leaders, strong values. If you trash them online, you don't deserve a paycheck from me. And to all other employers watching this, stop being cowards. Start firing people.
First of all, what you have to understand about Charlie Kirk is the reason he dropped out of junior college at 18 years old is because he was discovered by a man named Bill Montgomery, who was a Tea Partier, a very rich, I think probably billionaire, who spotted him when he was in high school spouting free market conservative ideas. And he gave him $4.7 million to start Turning Point USA. And the first thing that Turning Point USA did, they started this in 2012. This is when Barack Obama was running for re-election. And a lot of the right were really fearful that he had the youth on their side. What they had was Rush Limbaugh, whose audience was much older. So what they decided they needed to do was take that Rush Limbaugh energy, right-wing talk radio, and get it with the young people, right? And get it on the campuses. And the right has always been angry that they feel college campuses are too liberal. So Turning Point USA was really started by the 72-year-old man, Bill Montgomery, but he was the face, Charlie Kirk.
There's no rhyme or reason to fascism. There's no rhyme or reason to authoritarianism or a dictatorship, because at its core, it is one small group grabbing all of the power that they can grab and taking opportunities away from anybody they don't like. And this is what we have been trying to tell everybody. This is what we've been trying to tell MAGA, but they're not going to listen. They never listen because they really believe that fascism taking over here in the United States will serve their interests. They sit at home and they go, oh, liberals are complaining, Democrats are complaining, the left is complaining, so we're happy.
So Charlie Kirk was paid a large sum of money for him to go to colleges and to recruit young people to be conservatives, basically right-wingers, the new future of right-wingers. And then you have the event where Charlie Kirk was killed. And before the body was even cold, they started to blame the left. Trump and his acolytes started blaming the left. And they called it terrorism. They tried to weaponize tragedy into political power. Never mind that the facts weren't in. Never mind that the evidence pointed in the other direction. They didn't wait. Why? Because fear is a tool, and in Trump's hands, it's the most dangerous tool of all. This is a very thin-skinned man, and just like all the dictators and authoritarians before him and right now, they use this tool to suppress dissent. And Trump knows that he's not popular. Even though he wants to be loved and admired, he doesn't care about being admired by even his own people. He wants to be admired by other dictators. And instead of calming tensions down like presidents are supposed to do, Trump poured gasoline on the fire. That's not what presidents do. That's not what leaders do. And trust me, as I've told you many times before, the training that we receive in the military is big on leaders being accountable for their actions, for how they train their people, for the example that they lead. It's no surprise that a draft-dodging, smelly-ass, failed businessman doesn't understand what leadership is.
I need you to stop, put on your thinking cap, and listen. An authoritarian government, defining trait, tightly control information. Authoritarian regimes often suppress, alter, or delete statistics that make the leadership look weak or inconsistent. Examples: the Soviet Union, they manipulated economic data to hide famines or poor performance. Modern authoritarian states, as in today, sometimes underreporting inflation, unemployment, or COVID-19 deaths. Why would they do that? To maintain the image of competence and control is considered more important than the truth. So when you hear things like the DOJ deletes its own study from the website showing far more domestic terrorism committed by far-right extremists, it makes you think we are in what type of government?
So yes, the Trump administration has issued a memo to all federal health agencies to pause any communication with the public. This includes agencies like the FDA, the CDC, and the NIH, and they include all public communications, health updates, advisories, research updates, updates to websites, and social media posts. So for now, while this pause is in effect, all of the communications which would normally be released to the public have to be sent to and approved by a presidential appointee before being released. The memo also told federal health employees not to engage in any public speaking engagements without having their remarks reviewed by the presidential appointee, and the same thing with giving any information about health updates to Congress or governors without having it reviewed prior.
The receipts are vanishing. The Department of Justice just pulled down a study showing far-right extremists commit more violence than anybody else. And Trump just named Antifa a terrorist organization. I really want you to think about that. They won't even label the KKK a terrorist organization, but even now as we speak, you have people gathering again in their little pointy hoods, and nothing is being done about it. Terrorism, domestic extremism, hate crimes, the far right is by far leading the charge. And that's what the numbers said. But now it's gone. It's just scrubbed like it never existed. And it happened right after Charlie Kirk's assassination, when the narrative needed to shift away from far-right violence. Because what they don't want to do is they don't want to have people who have voted for Trump or support Trump to actually see the facts. The fact that they pulled this stuff is not a coincidence. That's not transparency of the government, right? Supposed to be, conservatives were about government transparency, right? This man is showing you he's not trying to be transparent. There's a media blackout happening right now down in goddamn New Orleans on the stuff going on down there. They're marching and they are protesting down there, and you probably all didn't know about that shit. They're trying to erase reality itself so they can replace it with their version of the truth.
Hey y'all, so Rolling Stone has just confirmed that the executives at ABC and Disney didn't think what Jimmy Kimmel said was that bad, didn't want to cancel his show, but their fear of retaliation from Donald Trump is why they did this. And this is what I'm saying when I keep saying everybody keeps kowtowing to this motherfucker, and we sit here. There's 340 million fucking people in the United States. We have the fucking power. But instead, these companies are kowtowing to him in more fear of him than they are of us, the consumer, because at the end of the fucking day, they think we're still going to use their product, even though they're kowtowing to him. They're so scared of him putting sanctions or suing them that they are doing this shit because they think regardless, we're going to still support them.
All right, everybody, we're going to start the day off by blocking everything related to ABC, Disney Plus, Hulu, the first three letters of the alphabet. I don't care if we have to figure out new spellings for words, right? That is an attack on free speech, and ABC bent the knee. Whoever that FCC guy is who orchestrated the whole thing, and then the president of the United States celebrated it. Your so-called strongest American president can't even take a fucking joke, can't even let people use their freedom of speech, because he'll turn around and still call Obama a fucking Marxist fascist when under Obama's leadership, this country was 10 times more united than it is right now.
I read in the Bible that when the righteous are in authority, the people rejoice. But when the wicked rule, the people groan. And I think we are at that time where people are groaning because the wicked are ruling from the projected or now active job loss to where you're choosing other nations over your nation of people because you're bought by bribes.
This is what dictators do, people. They silence critics. They weaponize tragedy. They erase inconvenient truths. And they tell you it's all for your safety, all for stability, all for America. But this ain't about America. It's about Trump. It's about keeping power, no matter the cost. And it's about the people who really control Trump. It's about the people who really want to control the interest of the United States. And if they can silence Jimmy Kimmel today, they can silence you tomorrow. And if they can rewrite the truth about violence, they can rewrite history itself.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Governments should be afraid of their people.
And you're going to make that happen by blowing up a building?
The building is a symbol, as is the act of destroying it. Symbols are given power by people. Alone, a symbol is meaningless. But with enough people, blowing up a building can change the world.
Stay vigilant, stay engaged, stay revolutionary.